For CIPD Bitesize 5HR01, we're going to be looking at AC1.2. Now, that is compare forms of union and non-union employee representation. So when you look at this particular unit, one of the main things that we do is let's break the question down into its component parts, the things that you are expected to do to be able to pass this unit. So you're expected to compare forms of union and non-union employee representation. And I say employee in a really weird way because that is the element, not legal. This is employee representation. So first thing that we always do on CIPD Bitesize is we break it down into its verb level. So compare, the verb examines differences, to examine or look at the differences between two or more things. So if you are asked to compare union and non-union employee representation, well, on the verb level, you're already being asked to compare more than one thing. So bear that in mind when you're creating this answer. So we've broken this down into action points. Action point 1, define union representation. Action point 2, compare non-union and non-union, compare union and non-union representation 1, compare to non-union representation 2, compare to non-union representation 3. So that way you have done 3 different, you're comparing union representation to non-union representation in 3 different ways. But always remember, you need a reference and a citation per action point. So if you're comparing and saying, okay, well, this is A and this is B, make sure that you've got a reference, make sure you've got a site sourced, make sure that you've got information built to help you deliver that answer, because there's nothing that is going to get you to refer on that quicker than just going, I think it's this. CIPD are not looking for you to say what you think. They're looking for you to go, this is the definition as per evidence by CIPD by X, Y, and Z. This is what it means in comparison from action point 1, which can be found here. This is what it means from non-union representation action point 2, which can be found here. This is what it means from non-union action point representation 3, which can be found here. Here is all the evidence to make it irrefutable. This is a slam dunk answer. You can give me all the marks. And remember, the other thing that we say with when we do things like this is break your question into its actionable points. So your heading is AC 1.2. That's what CIPD want you to put at the top. That is the title for this section of content. Your subheading then is defining union representation, comparing union representation to non-union representation, example 1, comparing union representation to non-union representation, example 2, comparing union representation to non-union representation, example 3. Now for AC 1.2, you have 390 words because the total, you've got 10 ACs and you've got 3,900 words total. So that is 100 words per action point. So you have 100 words to answer this and do the comparison and do this and do this and do this. And if you do all 3 versions, you've gone above and beyond the question. There is no way that you can refer on this as long as you answer all elements of the question and you do that comparison. Some resources to help you in terms of building this answer. The first and foremost, the best one to compare different forms of union and non-union employee representation is the CIPD fact sheet on trade unions. Pretty much will have most of the information. It has, the fact sheets have links to external sources. They have links to a whole range of things. So have a look at those. Have a look at different types of employee representation that's in there. It lists everything. There'll be a link in below for you to have a look into that yourself. The CIPD Collective Employee Voice 2021. Now, I try to always recommend not to use references that are anything more than 2 years old, but there's so much really useful information in the Collective Voice report from 2021 that I actually think it will have a really beneficial way of you understanding how to answer the question when you're doing sort of the comparisons and stuff like that. So I definitely recommend giving that a read. Definitely recommend going into that and having a drive through that. And the Labour Regulations Agency, non-union representation in the workplace. That gives you really good ideas for multiple different forms of non-union representation in the workplace, whether it be creation of a council, whether it be in terms of projects, leadership connecting with union voice and sort of having workshops with people. There's loads of really good information on there in terms of how you will work together with non-union representation in the workplace. Now, one of the things that we like to do to try and help you really understand the question is we create a fictitious scenario, a bit of a story to try and help you understand it. And for this, we are going to the woods. So, union representation, think about a travel agency specializing in hikes. You, the employee, collectively decide to go to the destination, the difficulty, the pace, the budget for the trek. The union, the travel agency in this, negotiates with the park rangers, the management, to secure permits, ensure safety measures are in place, to ensure the benefits are there, advocate for better facilities for the trail. So they'll try and sort of, get you some cheap upgrades and some other elements. You have a strong voice in the planning, but the agency handles the logistics and ensures everyone follows the agreed upon plan. And that's what the union is. The union is the travel agency in this. You can say, I need this, I want this, I want this. And they go, well, they'll try and do it. They'll try and get you some free upgrades. They'll try and do things that make your holiday better. But that's who the union are. If you think about non-union representation, here are a couple of options. You've got an informal group decision. Someone sets up a WhatsApp group. You, the hikers, discuss the trek amongst yourselves. We want to do this. We want to do that. Someone might be elected the leader who sets up the WhatsApp group and is like, oh, we should do this. I'll sort this. I'll sort this. Everyone send me money. Everyone's tried to organize a group activity, and obviously trying to collect money from people is normally a shocker, but you've got an informal representative. They're the coordinator. They'll speak to the park rangers. They'll speak to about permits and safety. They'll open communications. They'll try and sort of speak to different things and arrange them all for you, but they don't have the negotiating power to go, we've got this much money coming your way, can you do this, can you do that? If you don't do this, then we will go over here. Now, the other way to think about this is predefined options. So instead of a WhatsApp group with everyone together, you've got some predefined options. So the park rangers, for example, present you with a set of pre-planned hikes and things that you can purchase and you can buy, pretty much like how we do this with our courses. We present you with 3 different payment options for our courses, and you choose from the options, but obviously you've got limited ability to negotiate in the specifics, so you can't create what is right for you. You've just got to pick from the options that are available to you. The key differences to bear in mind in stuff like this is unions give employees more collective bargaining power to influence the plan. Unions typically more formal structures with elected officials, where non-union representation can just be informal or predefined by management. So management can say, oh, we put Steve in charge. Unions often focus on broader workplace issues like wages and benefits, while non-union representation often focuses on specific concerns or communication channels. Try and remember, this is a simplified analogy. Both union and non-union representation have their pros and cons. The best choice depends on the specific needs for the business. Your job within this question is to compare them and understand the comparisons. So when we say the union is the travel agency, when we say, for example, the park rangers are the managers and stuff like that, that's a simplified way for us to try and help you understand the question. Absolute best of luck with this question. If there's any questions or anything like that, obviously you can get in touch with us, but hopefully you know how to compare forms of union and non-union representation, how to build out your answer, and how you can get the pass on this particular AC. Best of luck, and we'll catch you on the next one.